I think there is always a day that you have to say goodbye.
At the height of fame, when millions watched her every move and entire empires were built around her beauty, Adriana Lima did something unthinkable. She said no. No to temptation, no to the easy applause, no to the silent demands of an industry that worships exposure. In a world that prizes image over integrity, she chose something else: faith. This is not just the story of a model. It's the story of a woman who walked through fame's fire and came out unburned, because she believed in something stronger than desire: conviction. The making of an angel. Adriana Lima was born in 1981 in Salvador da Bahia, a coastal city in Brazil where the air hums with music, where faith is stitched into daily life, and where beauty often grows out of hardship. The streets were filled with color and struggle, fishermen calling out by the docks, church bells echoing through humid mornings, and families doing their best to hold on to hope. Her childhood was far from glamorous. There were no designer clothes, no luxury holidays, no cameras waiting outside the door, just a small apartment, a hard-working mother, and dreams that felt too big for their walls. Her father left when she was still a baby. It was her mother, Maria, a social worker, who carried the family with quiet resilience, raising Adriana on discipline, humility, and prayer. Adriana was a shy child, soft-spoken, observant, almost guarded. Teachers recalled her as polite and humble, a girl who preferred listening over speaking. She avoided mirrors, not because she didn't know she was beautiful, but because beauty was never something she measured herself by. In a world obsessed with appearance, she was raised to see worth in kindness, not in reflection. Her mother's Catholic faith was the anchor of their home. Every Sunday they attended Mass. The smell of incense, the echo of hymns, the flicker of candlelight. At night, they prayed the rosary together, counting beads under dim light, whispering gratitude, even when there was little to be grateful for. That rhythm of faith became her first form of discipline, her earliest understanding of peace. And though Adriana couldn't have known it then, that quiet spirituality would one day become her armor, protecting her in a world that devours innocence and rewards surrender. Her journey into modeling was never part of a dream. At 13, a friend asked her to accompany her to a local modeling contest. Adriana went only to support her, but when the judges saw her, tall, luminous, unpolished yet magnetic, they insisted she enter too. She won second place. And in that single moment, her life's direction shifted. She didn't crave attention or fame. She was too modest for that. But she saw something in modeling that could change her family's life. It wasn't about lights or luxury. It was about lifting her mother out of struggle. 2 years later, she entered Ford's Supermodel of Brazil competition and won. The next year, she ranked second in Ford's Supermodel of the World. Suddenly, doors opened. Contracts arrived. Agencies called. She was 15 when she boarded her first international flight. Destination, New York City. For most teenagers, that would have been a dream. For Adriana, it was survival disguised as opportunity. New York was dazzling and dangerous. The city moved faster than she could think, its energy electric but ruthless. She didn't speak much English. She didn't understand contracts, money, or the coded language of the fashion world. She just knew how to work, how to pray, and how to stay grounded. She lived in small model apartments, cold rooms shared with strangers, far from her mother, far from home. Every day brought new faces, new photo shoots, new expectations. People told her how to walk, how to pose, how to be, as if the real Adriana wasn't enough. She was young, alone, and surrounded by a new kind of temptation, not the spiritual kind she'd learned about in church, but the seductive power of fame itself. The flattery, the money, the parties, the promises, all of it whispered the same lie. You can have everything if you let go of who you are. But somewhere in that noise, she remembered her mother's voice, the sound of prayer beads clicking, the scent of candles in church, and the truth she had learned as a child, that nothing gained by losing yourself is ever worth the price. So while others drifted into the glamour, Adriana learned to stand still. While others changed to fit the industry, she learned to hold her ground. And that, long before fame, fortune, or the angel wings, was the first act of faith that would define her life. Faith in the furnace. The modeling world is built on reinvention. Each season demands a new identity. But Adriana Lima carried something unchanging, her faith. When journalists asked about her beliefs, she didn't hide. She said it plainly: sex is for marriage. That sentence, in an industry obsessed with sensuality, sounded like rebellion. Tabloids mocked her. Talk shows turned it into a joke. But Adriana didn't flinch. She told GQ magazine, "People have judged me, but this is who I am. I believe in God." Her conviction didn't come from pride. It came from peace. In interviews, she spoke softly about her prayer life, reading the Bible daily, and attending church even during Fashion Week. Behind the scenes, she kept a rosary in her purse. Before walking the runway, she would whisper a prayer, not for success, but for strength. In a business that thrives on exposure, Adriana Lima became a paradox, a woman who sold beauty without selling her soul. The industry's shock. The reaction was polarizing. Some fans saw her as a role model, proof that conviction could coexist with career. Others accused her of hypocrisy, arguing that modeling lingerie couldn't coexist with religion. But Adriana understood something deeper. Faith is not the absence of imperfection. It's the pursuit of alignment. She wasn't pretending to be holy. She was trying to stay whole. Even Victoria's Secret executives were caught off guard. While her colleagues embraced the fantasy theme with open sensuality, Adriana approached it as performance, a job, not an identity. She once said, "Modeling is my profession, but my life belongs to God." The more she rose, the more her peace confused people. Because in a culture addicted to validation, serenity looks like rebellion. Love, loss, and the test of conviction. Fame attracts fascination and temptation. In the early 2000s, Adriana dated musician Lenny Kravitz. The tabloids went wild, but when she confirmed she was still a virgin, waiting until marriage, it sent shockwaves through Hollywood. For many, it was unthinkable. For her, it was non-negotiable. She believed love was not about possession, but purpose. After their breakup, she faced ridicule and heartbreak. Yet she never used bitterness as a weapon. She prayed, healed, and moved forward. Her life became an act of quiet resistance, proof that dignity is not outdated. Years later, she married Marko Jaric, an NBA player, and had 2 daughters. Her faith deepened with motherhood. She said, "My children are gifts from God. They remind me what love truly is." But life didn't spare her from pain. The marriage ended in divorce, a test that could have broken her. Instead, it humbled her. In interviews afterward, she said she was focusing on her children and her spirituality. It was clear her faith wasn't a decoration. It was armor, the farewell of an angel. In 2018, after nearly 2 decades, Adriana Lima walked her final show for Victoria's Secret. The crowd rose to their feet. She placed her hands on her heart and whispered, "Thank you." That moment wasn't just a farewell, it was a transformation. She had been the face of fantasy, but now she was embracing truth. Afterward, she told reporters, "I realized "I don't want to take my clothes off anymore for an empty cause." She spoke about promoting health, authenticity, and positive self-image. It was a powerful statement in an industry that often treats women like products. She didn't condemn her past. She honored it as part of her journey. Because faith doesn't erase your story, it redeems it. Beauty, faith, and the modern world. Adriana's openness about her Catholic faith inspired millions, but it also sparked debate. Could a supermodel really represent Christian values? Could someone who posed in lingerie also pray the rosary? The answer in her life was yes, because faith, at its core, isn't about image, it's about intention. Adriana never preached perfection. She lived perseverance. She reminded the world that belief doesn't make you infallible. It makes you anchored. That message resonated with young women globally, especially those torn between ambition and morality. Her story told them, you don't have to lose yourself to succeed. Over time, brands began valuing authenticity over fantasy. The fashion industry shifted toward diversity, body positivity, and emotional honesty. Movements that Adriana quietly helped pioneer by refusing to conform completely. The mother, the mentor, the messenger. In the years following her runway farewell, Adriana became something else, a mentor. She used her platform to promote fitness, motherhood, and spiritual wellness. Her social media presence changed. Fewer high fashion shots, more family photos, prayer quotes, and gratitude notes. She became a spokesperson for self-respect, not through speeches, but through example. She worked with charities supporting children, education, and clean water initiatives. Her connection to UNICEF and anti-poverty organizations showed her faith wasn't confined to ritual. It moved into action. In an interview, she said, "Faith isn't just about believing in God. It's about living like you trust Him." Her evolution mirrored something universal, the journey from seeking approval to seeking purpose. She no longer needed validation from cameras. She found meaning in quiet acts of love. Critics, and the courage to stand alone. Not everyone admired her stance. In an era that celebrates shock value over substance, Adriana Lima's quiet conviction felt almost radical. Critics argued that her religious views were outdated, even incompatible with modern feminism. Some accused her of hypocrisy, of preaching purity while modeling lingerie. Others dismissed her faith as a marketing strategy, a way to appear different in a saturated industry. But Adriana never fought back with fury. She responded not with debate, but with dignity. She didn't lecture, she didn't retaliate, she didn't try to win the argument. Instead, she lived her answer. She once said, "Everyone has their truth. Mine is built on faith." And in that single sentence lies the quiet strength that defined her. The courage to be misunderstood. Because conviction isn't about forcing others to believe as you do. It's about refusing to betray your own soul when the world demands that you do. In a culture where opinions shift with the algorithm, constancy becomes an act of defiance. When everything is performative, authenticity becomes rebellion. And when most people chase relevance, staying rooted becomes revolutionary. Adriana's calm faith wasn't loud. It didn't shout to be heard. Her boundaries were invisible, but immovable. She didn't need to dramatize her difference. She simply was different. She walked through an industry that sells fantasy, yet she remained real. She stood on stages built for temptation, yet she carried grace. For decades, while trends came and went, her essence remained unchanged. Designers, photographers, and journalists noticed it, that rare blend of mystery and modesty. She became timeless not because she reinvented herself every season, but because she never lost herself in the process. Adriana Lima's career longevity wasn't built on controversy. It was built on character. While others courted scandal for relevance, she cultivated respect for endurance. While others tried to shock the world, she chose to steady it, reminding people that integrity is still beautiful. Her greatest walk wasn't down a runway lit by cameras. It was through the long corridors of life, lit by conscience. Every step she took, every choice she made, reflected one truth. You don't have to be loud to be powerful. You don't have to conform to be accepted. You don't have to shout to leave an echo, because the world forgets the noisemakers, but it always remembers the ones who stood their ground in silence, with grace. Faith as discipline, not doctrine. For Adriana Lima, faith isn't about perfection or piety. It's about discipline. The same discipline that made her train daily, maintain professionalism, and endure the pressures of fame also kept her spiritually grounded. She said, "I pray every day. I meditate. I try to stay humble." Her humility became her strength. While many celebrities chase relevance, Adriana embraced reverence. While others marketed rebellion, she modeled restraint. And perhaps that's why her beauty never faded. It was never skin deep to begin with. Her faith gave her something no contract could buy: peace. And in the chaos of fame, peace is the rarest luxury of all. Lessons from an angel of faith. What can we learn from Adriana Lima? That conviction can coexist with success. That faith can survive fame. That purity in its truest form is strength, not suppression. She teaches us that you can walk in the spotlight and still follow a higher light. That being unapologetically spiritual doesn't make you naive. It makes you anchored in a world built on illusion. For young artists, professionals, and dreamers, her life offers a challenge. Don't confuse freedom with surrender. Don't trade your soul for applause. Because in the end, the world doesn't remember who impressed them. It remembers who inspired them. The wings she chose. She once wore wings made of feathers and diamonds, dazzling symbols of fantasy, desire, and fame. Wings that drew applause from millions, that made her an icon, that turned her name into a brand. But those wings were heavy, stitched with expectation, perfection, and pressure. The wings that truly carried her were invisible, made not of silk and gold, but of conviction, prayer, and quiet strength. They didn't shimmer under lights. They didn't make headlines. But they lifted her higher than any runway ever could, because they were built on faith, not fantasy. Adriana Lima didn't reject the world. She redefined how to live within it. She showed that a woman can stand in the center of the storm and still be calm, that she can walk in beauty without becoming enslaved by it, that she can face temptation without letting it define her. She proved that boldness isn't always loud. Sometimes it's found in silence, and that the purest kind of confidence is the one that doesn't need validation. A woman can be both beautiful and brave, sensual and spiritual, confident and kind, all at once. Because being whole isn't about choosing between opposites. It's about embracing balance. In a culture that glorifies rebellion, she reminded the world that real power isn't found in breaking rules. It's found in living by values. That real freedom doesn't come from doing whatever you want. It comes from knowing what's truly worth doing. And that real glamour isn't about what you reveal. It's about what you refuse to compromise. Her faith didn't limit her. It liberated her. It freed her from the noise, from the constant chase for perfection, from the illusion that love and worth must be earned. It gave her peace in an industry built on chaos. It gave her stillness in a life defined by movement. She learned that the world's applause fades, but inner peace echoes forever. And when the lights dimmed, when the cameras stopped flashing, When the angel wings were packed away, what remained was something stronger: grace. In a world that tells you to be everything, Adriana Lima whispers something simpler: be someone. Someone grounded in values, guided by purpose, and unafraid to stand alone. Because the truth is, not every path that shines leads to heaven. Some roads glitter for a moment and vanish into emptiness. But the narrow road, the one lit by faith, humility, and courage, leads to something eternal. That's the ultimate lesson of her story: that the greatest victory isn't walking the runway of fame. It's walking the narrow road of faith, with grace in your heart, dignity in your steps, and peace in your soul. She walked away from angel wings and found her own. She left the stage, but her light never dimmed. Because true beauty, the kind that endures, doesn't come from cameras. It comes from courage. It comes from conviction. It comes from faith.